Hello,
Okay,
hello.
episode number three. Yapty
Is that
yap.
all?
Yeah, honestly. Well, it's pretty good because we started in January, right? So 3 episodes in 2 months is a pretty good cadence, I think.
Especially for you, because you're busy, you're traveling the world, you're in Japan now, you've been in Hong
Look at
Kong,
the
you've been in the
window.
US. She's
I've been in
authentic.
meetings and people ask me, is that your real background? I'm like, don't you see the massive AC right here?
Yeah.
It's my real background, indeed. But
Zoom
yeah,
backgrounds have really come a long way.
it's fine. Also, we're literally not on the same day, you and I, right now. So that's funny too.
You're in the future. Even though I look like I'm in the future, it's really you.
It is true, actually. There's a lot of updates that happened over the last month, really, since the last video. The last video was focused on AI, so we didn't touch as much on ecosystem updates. So we're gonna catch up on that. I also posted yesterday a thread about everything that happened in the month of February. So if you want to know more, you can catch up to that. But I think what we should really start with this time around is all the events that happened since the beginning of the
Yes.
year. So I think in the first video we did, we talked about Enka coming to New York already. So we had the Enka cohort, which is an accelerator for teams, came to New York City. Enka Labs launched officially Move Maker, which is supported by the Aptos Foundation. Essentially, what they're going to do is bring support, and more teams into the Chinese-speaking regions. So I'm very much looking forward to what that's going to look like. We had an event with them as well that was more so the official launch of MoveMaker. So I think that's going to be really pushing forward the focus that we've had on APAC. And in that case, specifically, as I mentioned, Chinese speaking regions. My bad. So that happened in early January. We hosted the teams in New York, and then a couple weeks after that, we hosted another cohort of teams, which was during the Aptos Exponential Week in New York City. This time we had them in the office for a week, which Enka was 2 weeks. 12 teams joined us from everywhere around the world. People flew from Canada, the US, all around Asia. We had people from Japan, China, Malaysia, Korea, a little bit of everything really, and some teams from Europe as well. That was a lot of fun. It was very early stage teams. I think you might have seen them pop up in your feed on Twitter, because we did emphasize that they need to make themselves more public in order for people to know about them. 12 new teams, very early stage that we're looking forward to their development in 2025. Across different verticals, really. We had some DeFi. I think Coffee Finance was here. They announced that they are going to be live on mainnet, I believe, in March, at the end of March,
Yep.
joined by Tap Exchange, which was also with us in New York. And then you had prediction markets, some gaming, some consumer-facing applications. So it was a lot of fun. Haley, you were here with us.
Yes, I honestly like you kill it every year with these ecosystem like covenings that you posted. This is my second one that I've gotten to join, and I'm super bullish on this new cohort of projects. I feel like yeah, you mentioned a few, but I think like Coffee Finance, Tap Exchange are both set to launch before end of March. I think Flipboard is also tracking on a similar timeline, but I think we had such a good crew on the ground, and I had the opportunity to lead a couple marketing office hours where I got to meet with some of these teams and talk through everything from branding to like how to up level their social presence to how do I navigate like actually launching mainnet end of March. I feel like a lot of these projects have a really aggressive timeline, which is cool.
Mm.
But yeah, it was a really great week, and I think you did a good job in kind of instilling the importance of marketing yourselves, which is music to my ears. So I'm really excited for everything that's coming up within the next month for most of these projects.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be exciting. I think they're very much looking forward to connecting with the teams that have been on Aptos for a longer time too. So hopefully we can make that happen. And you mentioned the office hours. That's something that also is pretty popular every time we host it, really. People really enjoy having the opportunity to meet in person with specific departments. So I'm going to work on seeing how we can make that happen more often, even if it's not necessarily always in person. So yeah, that was fun. That was in the first week of February, the second week of February, after Chinese New Year, actually. And then right after that, I flew to Hong Kong to be at Consensus. Quite a few things happened at Consensus too. One of them being the announcement that Avery made on stage with Pact. I think it's the president of Pact. They announced basically the partnership with Aptos. The goal is to bring $1 billion on-chain in on-chain assets Essentially, if you don't know about Pact, one, look them up. But TLDR, what they do is they do private credits on chain, and the goal is to serve countries in regions where it's very hard to access. So in the West, we're pretty lucky with that. In the US, it's very accessible. In Europe, it's pretty accessible too. But then you have regions in Africa, India, a lot of countries really where it's really hard to access private credit. And so the goal is to put it on chain, which makes it entirely transparent as well, which is one of the problems in these places. So that's the partnership with Pact that was announced with every and the president of Pact. Also, at Consensus, I saw Kit Labs, the CEO Ahmed was being interviewed by CoinDesk,
Oh,
which
cool. I
is
didn't know
very
that.
exciting. Yeah, KidLab has been on Aptos for a long time and they've always been performing. It's a ticketing company. They operate mainly in New York City. They ticket venues and events and shows, and they've been really crushing it for as long as they've been here, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to see them being highlighted as well as a more consumer-facing application. I think it's one of the rare cases in Web3 today where we see regular people who don't necessarily know the technology behind it is actually a blockchain, use it completely seamlessly and consistently. So I think that's really cool. So thank you for that, Kit Labs. We appreciate you. And then one of the big events at Consensus was the hackathon that was hosted by Easy A. If you do not know Easy A, you might have been living under a rock.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Very popular. The team behind EZA is very impressive themselves. The co-founders, Dom and Phil, have a pretty big track records. Go look them up if you haven't yet. But long story short, it was a hackathon during Consensus in the Consensus venue where Polkadot, Ripple, and Aptos were taking parts. There was a total of 67 submissions, and 39 of those were on Aptos, so we're very happy about that. We had support from our develop team on the ground, as well as Merkle Trade, which was basically co-hosting with Aptos. And so talking about Merkle, they launched AI trading agents. The focus of Aptos was AI agents during that. And so they also had a prize pool for specific projects. So thank you to the Merkle team, which same thing, always showing up and always crushing it. And then we had a lot of other side events. It was a lot of fun, very vibrant time in Hong Kong. And I think that's right now, as we're speaking, actually, a lot of people are at Eat Denver. It's once the season of events starts, it doesn't stop.
It's like
It's quite
February to April and then like June to September, just nonstop.
right now we started, it's not gonna stop. But so yeah, a lot of people are at Eat Denver. We co-hosted the opening party. I obviously am not there right now. And we also were part of the multi-chain day. And so I think you're going to see a lot more news about what happened there next week, probably.
David made a pretty big announcement at Multi-Chain Day too. I think some people might have seen that Ash shared his ecosystem vision at long last earlier this week, and I think David helped announce that on stage for folks that were in attendance at ETH Denver. So maybe we'll have Ash on in a future episode to talk more about that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something to
guys,
look forward to.
let us know if that's something that you want to happen actually. So probably most of you saw Ash published an article on Twitter explaining what the ecosystem is focusing on for 2025 and what are the means that we're putting behind these efforts. You should definitely take a look. It talks about different regions, different initiatives, and also the verticals that we're very focused on and what we want to see. And I think it could be good to have him on to dive a little bit deeper, explain to people what that means, what that's going to look like in the short and long term. So yeah, if that's something that you want to see, Ash, you're going to be joining us.
This is your
So yeah,
official invite.
this is your official invite. Accept, decline. It's a one-time offer. Take it or leave it type of thing. But I think that's it for events. I've been yapping a lot, so I think it's going to be your turn, Haley.
Sure. I think, yeah, you've been covering the ground, like traveling the world, going at every event. I don't know how you've been doing it since literally the first week of January, and hopefully you have a little bit of a break now that you're in Japan. But I'm excited to kind of talk through just some key announcements that have happened over the last 2 months since our first video, I think, is when we kind of ran through ecosystem updates. So what's been happening since then? The biggest news that I'm excited about is if people have seen, Athena brought the USD stablecoin to Aptos, which is huge because now that means that Aptos
Okay.
really is becoming a stablecoin powerhouse. We now support USDT, and USDE. So super big news there.
The three
We're
biggest
the
stablecoins.
three big ones. We're really taking over the world. And as part of that announcement, both Bala and Echelon have also integrated Athena. So now anyone in the Aptos ecosystem can access USDE through Bala and Echelon. Also, since we last spoke, native USDC is now supported on Aptos. I know that that's something that we talked about at the end of last year, but as of I think January or early February this year, it's now officially live and native to anyone in the Aptos ecosystem. So if you haven't already, check that out.
Yeah. Most, if not all, of the DeFi protocols on Aptos have integrated native USDC on
Yeah.
Aptos right now. And I know it's supported by Mexi and Coinbase as well.
Yes.
Maybe some others, the two that I know of for sure.
Yep, I think those are the big ones. Perhaps there's more news coming on that soon. But yeah, I think on day one of native USTC being available, I think it was something like 14 ecosystem projects had it integrated from day one. So huge. And then obviously since then, there's been a lot more that have integrated. So definitely be sure to engage there. And just adding on to that too, I think Ash, our head of ecosystem, and Jay, who leads DeFi growth for the Aptos Foundation, they actually joined the Circle team this week to kind of talk through ways that you can access USDC. So be sure to check that out. I know we shared it on the Aptos channel, and you can also check it on Circle's developer channels as well. So if you missed that live stream this week, be sure to check it out.
Since we're a little bit in the DeFi space, do you want to give some numbers and updates on what that looks like within the protocols on Aptos?
Yeah, yeah, a couple milestones that stood out to me in this past month. I'll jump around a little bit. Quantum Network recently announced that they surpassed over 2 billion in trading volume. Similarly, Merkle surpassed 19 billion in total volume, which is, I think, their biggest milestone to date. Aminus Finance, if you haven't checked them out, surpassed 171 million in TVL, which is a new all-time high for the protocol. And the last one that I wanted to call out is Echelon. They surpassed 380 million in total volume swap. So obviously there's been a lot more milestones in the past couple of months, but I just cherry-picked a couple DeFi protocols that I caught in this past 2 months. So very exciting.
I don't know if we can call it a milestone really, but something that happened and that's very personal maybe, but find really cool is that Toy Makers was highlighted in the magazine Rolling Stone, which is one of the biggest magazines ever.
Yes.
I think that's really cool to see projects really like this. Well, they're a world-class toy making company, obviously. They use jelly beans to essentially put the toy on chain. Let's put it that way. Have activity on chain happen, and really enhance the user experience. And the fact that they highlighted in a magazine that's read by so many people who are not in the Web3 space, I think is really cool to me.
No, I agree. Yeah, and if you Yeah, TLDR, Jelly Bean and Toy Makers are merging like the digital and physical worlds. Oh my God, I can't talk today. But they've been all over the news lately. Like as you mentioned, they've been featured in Rolling Stone. They've also been featured in Vanity Fair and Forbes this month. So a ton of coverage, and I think they have some really cool collectibles that they've launched with some pretty big name artists as well. One of them being Raw Alejandro, and I think the other one was Juice World. They launched a collectible to kind of honor his
I
legacy.
saw.
So definitely check them out. I also want to talk through a couple of technical innovations that have been announced in the past month. If you haven't been keeping up, the Aptos Labs team has been on absolute tear, just shipping products. In the past month, we announced Jardines, which is a new blockchain execution engine that's supposed to put Aptos on the path toward infinite scalability and unlock 1 million transactions per second, which is huge. I think not a lot of other chains can really back up claims that they are doing this already. So Aptos is really spearheading this. And then the other innovation that we announced in the past month is Aptos, which is a new network architecture that puts Aptos on track to be the first chain to sustain 20,000 transactions per second with sub-second latency.
Yes.
That's right,
So
sub-second. I just want to echo that.
And Sasha and Brian did an episode, right, where they talk in more depth about Zapdos recently.
Yes, yeah, a new series just launched called Aptos Talks. This one featured, as you mentioned, Sasha, Brian, and Alix from the Aponia team, where they're talking all about Zapdos. So if you didn't check that out this week, please do tune in. And I actually don't know what the next episode will be about, but I'm super bullish on this new series, especially if we're going to be gathering the biggest brains in Aptos. Like I'm all for it. So I'm really excited to see that series take off.
Yeah, and talking about podcast, Every was invited in two podcasts in the last month, one of them being Talking Tokens, which is hosted by Jacqueline Millinek. And the second one, it's the Empire Pod. So check that out as well. He's out there. He's making moves and making noise. So that's good to see, definitely.
Avery and Ash are everywhere, I swear, from live streams with Circle to podcast. I know Ash just recorded with the Kana Labs team today for their new podcast. If also want to plug them too. Like, if I feel like I always talk about the Kana Labs team, but I'm just so impressed with how quickly they ship products, and now they've launched their podcast on top of that. So an episode's coming soon to you featuring Ash, where he's talking about the Aptos ecosystem and his background. It's just a good opportunity to get to know who's at the helm of the ecosystem.
Yeah, and I saw that Surbi launched the first episode of the Canal Labs podcast where she talks a little bit about where it was born. And talking about them, they unveiled this Qport. I say Qport, but it's Qport, I think, actually, which is an
I say
instance-based
Q4.
protocol. You say, what did you say?
I say Q4, but yeah,
Okay,
should probably double check
Surbi,
that.
Hannah, let us know if that's how you say it. Yeah, I was saying it's an instance-based protocol and it allows user to execute cross-chain transactions in less than 5 seconds. Check that out as well. Like you said, they've been shipping. They're also about to launch Flick.1, which is a prediction market. So that's also exciting. There was a lot of things happening in the ecosystem as far as launches and announcements go. I wish we could cover all of it. Sadly, we cannot, but I think it's already a pretty big chunk of it.
I mean, there's so much more we could talk about, but I think we covered the big events that happened in the last month and then ran through some of the biggest announcements happening on Aptos. Something you and I are super excited about and paying attention to is this new 200 million in DeFi funding that Ash announced as part of his vision for the ecosystem last week. So this is our plug to invite Ash formally to join the next episode of YAP, and maybe we can then do like a Q&A style conversation with him where we talk to him about what that means, how he kind of honed in on the use cases that we want to focus on for the future of Aptos, and what it really means to kind of foster the next unicorns that could be building on Aptos as we speak.
Yeah, definitely. And after Ash, I think it would be maybe time for us to also invite ecosystem teams
I
to
agree. We bring on Surbi from Kana so she can dispel how we say Qport. Are we saying it right? Are we not?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's many people that we can invite and that we will episode after episode. If we have to, we can also maybe, do more of them and instead of every 2 weeks to once a week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But excited to be talking with these people and all of you guys really. If you want to join, let us know and let us know who you want to see actually as well. I think maybe to close it out, a few metrics on NFTs and then who's leading the numbers into the activity on Aptos lately. So for the top NFT projects, by volume, I believe as of today, the ones leading are Loonies, Aptos Monkeys, Amaterasu, and Solana as well. And then the most activity has been seen in Chingari, KJEN, Tapos, and Link. KJN was also at the Aptos office, by the way, right before the Exponential Week in early February. Very impressive team as well, top tier gaming. It was great to have them at the office and be able to chat with them a little bit more about what the plans are and how they're actually executing on what they're doing, really.
Yeah, and they are executing to it. I think I'll kind of end on that note, but I think Cajun recently launched like a proof of gamer NFT mint, and as of today, I think that they reported that they minted like 500,000 NFTs, which is huge. So they're crushing it. They also just launched a new community video, which was very cute. If you haven't seen it, go check them out. But Cajun is really everywhere, and they consistently remain one of the projects that drive the most user activity on Aptos. So super bullish
Yeah.
on them. Heck yeah.
Same thing. I say KJEN, but I think it's KJ. Listen, I'm French. I don't know any of this, but guys, feel free to correct me whenever I'm wrong on how I talk about the names and stuff like that.
This is why we need the ecosystem on as guests so they can dispel these rumors and correct us for butchering your names and products and correct
On
us.
the spot, live,
Please,
right away.
please.
Yes. Great. Well, I think that's it for today.
Another
Is it?
episode done and yachts. Looking forward to the next one. Hopefully we
Yes,
do more.
we will do more. Thank you, Haley. See you
Thank
very
you,
soon.
Elise. Talk to you next week.